Hey there everyone, it's Evil Monkey here to give you the First Descendant Best Dev Stream recap. There was so much cool stuff announced, a lot of stuff that was shown that we knew about, but we hadn't seen videos of it. So we're going to dive right in. I tried condensing all the information down as much as possible, while still giving you guys the meat of the information, but most of the stuff in here I feel like I can make an individual video about. But yeah, let's just hop right into it. And this is the most condensed I could make it. Probably one of the biggest thing everyone's wondering about is the difficulty of Season 3. This is supposed to be the first time we're getting true in-game content. So you may be wondering while you're running around, are the enemies just going to be really killable like they are in current content, like a 400% where you're just a Freyna, you shoot out one ability and boom, the whole room dies? I guess in this case it'd be the whole area dies or the whole map dies. And the answer is no. They said in this that this is actually supposed to be geared towards end game players right now. So, and by that they defined it by something like you have all your component cores, all your weapon cores, character fully built out and kitted out, full build. And an actual build that's meant to do something, not just, I slapped this build together and here we go. No, it's actually supposed to be a real build. Now, they said they weren't really going to do this around just increasing health pools and defense pools. They want to just make enemies have actual mechanics. So they don't just want you sitting there hammering into an enemy for 30 minutes because it has a giant health pool. No, they're trying to make it so that you can actually fight enemies because they have real mechanics. And this is what we're supposed to be actually fighting in game. This is like the whole thing, the end goal of how we're supposed to achieve it. And we'll go more into this in the enemy section, which will be probably next. So new entire legion is being added. It's the Legion of Breach. We talked about this before in a previous video, and they showed some screenshots, but they'd never actually shown video, and now as you guys can see on the screen, there's video of it. One of the ones they talked about before was this enemy type that kind of just adapts to the damage you're doing. It showed some gameplay here. Seems like it's kind of a common enemy, but the main point is to destroy the spawners. Otherwise, it just keeps spawning these basic enemies. They also mentioned a gun that will help with dealing with these enemies in case you don't want to really have to worry about swapping out abilities to deal with these guys or have co-op. They talked about this a little bit. We'll get into that part of the video later where we talk about weapons. The big thing, though, like the massive thing, even though these did get revealed before, it was the spikers. These bosses that are appearing around the map that just, they said previously in the video, they can just spawn into a mission that you're doing and just mess up your day. And from watching this video, they look closer to a mini boss. So you guys can see they have like boss-like mechanics there. This one's shooting out waves, dashing at you. There's one that just flies around the air and shoots at you, which, depending on if he comes down or not from the sky, may be annoying. But there's a lot of cool things. They also showed what were they, the drop ships dropping enemies. If you guys don't remember from the last video, if you do destroy the drop ship, you do get the full rewards as if all the enemies had spawned on the ground. So you can either wait for them to spawn and kill them as like a Freyna, or if you're a Haley player, like me, well, actually I do play Freyna too. I actually like both the characters, but you can also just take Haley and just snipe that ship out of the air and get the full rewards. All these enemies look very cool. You can see the ships falling on the ground. It looks very cinematic. I'm very excited to fight these in these massive battlefields that they're planning. But especially these mini bosses just look awesome. I can't wait to fight them. They didn't really go in depth of how hard they are to take out. They said you will have to have kind of a strategy in mind to take them out, but they didn't say if you'll like fail most missions from them or whatnot. So we'll have to wait and see, but definitely looks amazing. Descendants. We've known for a while that there was 2 new Descendants coming out and 2 Ultimate Descendants. We knew Nell was one of the new Descendants, and Luna and Eugen were the 2 Ultimates. And they also now announced the hidden new Descendant. It's Harris, the mechanic that we see around Albion. Yeah, she's getting added. You can see her on the screen there. That's just concept art. They're still working on her. She won't be coming out for a while. I believe it's November for her. I want to say because it's Nell in August, Luna in September. I think we get a dead month in for Descendants in October, and then I think it's Harris in November and Eugen in December, something like that. Anyways, we won't be getting her for a while. You guys can see the dates up there when I pull up the roadmap. They'll have the dates. You can see it then. Anyway, she's a new one. We also did get a lot of information about Nell. They talk about her kit some. She is non-attribute. I'll throw up her skills that they showed up there on the screen. There is kind of a mess when they showed them. They did show off her abilities too. You guys can see it right there. The biggest issue though was just it was just a mess when they were showing off her abilities. It looked very cool. I will definitely play her. It looks like she has some gravity control. I believe we learned that last time too, that she had some gravity abilities. Her kit looks really fun. But I don't think we'll be able to make a build based off everything we saw here. Just you'll be able to find your perfect reactor maybe, and that's about it. This is one of the things I'm most personally excited for. It's the new dungeons. They didn't go too in depth into the dungeons, but they did answer one of my biggest questions about were we ever going to get more void vessels? And yes. In fact, all 3 new dungeons that we're going to get at the end of the year, I believe it's October, November, December, each get a new dungeon, will all be void vessels, including one that's called a super massive one. They didn't talk about that at all. They went a little bit in depth into the one that will come out with swords, just showing off the boss. I'll throw it there up on the screen. He looks very cool. Outside of that, we really didn't get much information. Outside of them on the roadmap, they're all listed under Void Vessel. So all 3 new dungeons will be that. It'll be cool to see them, but we didn't get really information on those. So even though Axion is the big focal point of Season 3, we really didn't get a whole lot of information during the dev stream about it. At least not directly. We got some by seeing it from other pieces of information, like during the enemies, we saw new mission types, new objectives, which looked pretty interesting. They didn't show too much about it, but you could just kind of catch glimpses of it. They also revealed racing for hover bikes, which we'd known for a while, but they talked a little bit more about it. And they talked about some other stuff, but we'll talk about like the hover bike stuff in the hover bike section. The big thing they did talk about for Axion is they'd revealed that you could farm anything out in Axion, which raised some player concerns that Axion would be the only thing we would do now, which would abandon old content. This is not true. They did kind of speak in that in a weird way during the last dev stream where they said you can farm anything. It's true that you can farm anything, but it's more of like an accidental surprise. Like, if you're trying to get Blair, like basic Blair, you technically, the best way to farm that is still go into those original dungeons, you know, that you haven't farmed forever, and go get original Blair. If you want weapon cores, Void Purge is still the best place to go get it. But you can accidentally get that stuff from Axion. Like, just as like a little like, oh, I got a nice surprise there. But you don't know what you're really going to get. And it's just, it sounds like it's pretty random and it's not a large amount. So it's just kind of like the icing on top of the cake, you know? It's a nice little thing you get, but you should not use that as a main way to grind out those type of materials. The original ways that you would grind them out are still going to be the best way. Hover bikes. Wow, there was some really cool stuff. I think one of the best things they showed in this, and is I should talk about this later, but I'm going to just talk about it right now because it's so good. The transition from getting on your bike to off your bike, and from off your bike to on your bike is so smooth. Like, you guys can see the animation there. They showed that you can just jump off your bike immediately, use your grapple hook. It's such a smooth looking animation. It's going to feel so nice to use. I played so many games where you jump off the bike and you're just sitting there for like 10 seconds in an animation while all the enemies are hitting you. It's going to be so much better to have. It's going to be so nice. They also show that you can do some cool tricks there, like that person's using the jump off to actually get up higher. It looks like you can do some cool tricks with the bike. They also mentioned racing, that there will be racing around, and it might even be a daily mission some of the time to actually go do racing, which is interesting. I'm going to crash that bike all the time. I suck at racing, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it looks incredibly smooth. I am very excited for these. They also talked about how there will be 3 bikes at the very beginning of the game when this launches. You'll have speed, balance, and then basic. I'm not joking, one is actually just basic. So you guys can guess what those do based on the names. Speed is of course speed, balance is of course balance, and basic is the one you just get at the very beginning, so that you can just have one. It also looks like there will be several cool things you can do with these. They also talked about these being used in dungeons. So currently, it'll mainly only be used in Axion. And players did ask, could we take these into like a dungeon, like some of the old ones? And they said no. In the old dungeons, you will not be able to because, I mean, you couldn't really pilot it around those dungeons. They weren't balanced to have a bike in there, so they're just not designed for it. So no. But they did say they want to include the bike to be able to be used in future dungeons, which sounds interesting. That makes me wonder if there's going to be like some massive dungeon where we're just going to have a bike part in the middle where you just have to use the bike to get around. Sounds pretty cool and interesting. Outside of that, they said these will be faster than pretty much any Descendant in the game. You will need them to get around. Yes, there will be cosmetics for the bikes. Also, as a note, if you want free cosmetics for your bike, it sounds like if you play during the Season 3 demo, which will happen July 24th, you will get free cosmetics for your hover bike. I know, pretty cool. They also said your hover bike will be displayed on the login screen. You know, that one where your Descendants just sitting around, fiddling with something, or saying something. Yeah, I'll throw it up on screen there. Now your hover bike and your companion will be there, or your fellow. This is pretty much all there was about hover bikes, but it was very cool to watch. I'm very excited for these. Once again, I'm going to crash my hover bike every like other minute, so technically it might not be faster for me to use a hover bike to get around Axion, but it'll definitely be faster for all you guys. So 2 new weapons were announced. Well, I feel like I should say guns because, you know, now we're going to have swords in the game sometime in Season 3, so 2 new guns announced. And that was the Eraser and the Exterminator. Now, the Exterminator is the one I really like because it's a lock-on rocket launcher. And because it's a rocket launcher, it's going to be Glay's new favorite weapon. This had a pretty big radius of lock-on, as you guys can see there. It looks like it just shoots a rocket for every locked-on target. We didn't get to see too much of this, but it does look pretty fantastic. The other gun is the Eraser. Now, this one is the gimmick gun for the season. If you guys haven't realized, pretty much every season or every episode we have a gun that's kind of a gimmick gun that's meant to be used for whatever kind of gimmick we get added that season. For example, Void Shields, it was Voltia got added. I think we had other ones beyond that. This one is going to deal with that enemy that changes its resistance based off your element. Apparently this gun will always do the element type of whatever the monster is weak to. So this will be interesting. I don't know if it'll be high damage. If it is high damage, it sounds like it'll be pretty broken to be able to just, you know, hit its weakness type. For swords, there wasn't too much announced. They just kind of went out around and said, yeah, we're having swords soon. And that's about it. Something that was surprising that they announced for Season 3 was redoing sockets. And there are sockets for Descendants, because weapons didn't really need to get redone. Weapons are actually kind of already like this. But for Descendants, if you guys didn't know, every time you throw a Crystallization Callus and reset your level, some of your stats reset back to level 1. Mainly your health and defense stats. But after this update, they won't. So you'll still always have the max stats no matter how many times you reset back to level 1. So you could be level 1, you can still just go do all the content, as long as you've fully leveled up once. Now, if you do want to crystallization your character again, you know, throw a new slot on, you do need to go from level 1 to 40 and reset your level again. But this way you'll get to keep all your stats. And you won't feel, you know, as thin as paper because you have no defense stats. So we did get a little bit more revealed about the lounge and some things that we'd known before. So they showed off the cosmetics they'll be able to throw around your lounge or your player house, whatever you want to call it. And there was some cool stuff. These were the kind of things we didn't know about, was what you get around. You can see there's like a little aquarium made of Albie's helmet. And then they said there were these dioramas you can see on screen. Apparently you'll be able to get like a place set, like a scene. And then you'll be able to place like little characters in it. They didn't really go in depth about this, but you'll get to basically make your own customized diorama. Seems like customizing will be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, this won't come until September, so this will not be Season 3 launch. This will be, you know, a month after that. But overall, it looks pretty cool, you know. They kind of went into this whole weird conversation about feet for like 10 minutes during this video. So I'm not gonna, go into detail about that. They basically were talking about why it's difficult to, have characters not wear shoes. I'm not joking. This was like a 10-minute conversation during it. Outside of that, it was just basically showing off stuff that they already told us before. You'll be able to put Descendants you want in the room. You'll be able to interact with them. You'll be able to pick their outfits. I think the coolest thing was being able to see what you'll throw around, be able to throw in the room, like the diorama, the aquarium. I hope there's more stuff that you'll be able to throw in there. Yeah, I really want to go full blown with customizing rooms. But yeah, this is all they really revealed. And then, like I said, talking about feet for 10 minutes. So they revealed something called Battle Pass 2.0. If I'm going to be honest for you guys, it feels like a Battle Pass 1.5. It didn't feel like it was significant enough to call it 2.0. But they did rework Battle Passes to have some of the changes people wanted. There will be a completely new character skin every one that'll be kind of themed. So you can see on the screen there's the male version, the female version. And this time it's mechanic. They're kind of themed a lot of stuff around, hover bikes. And so, you need a mechanic for a bike. That's why. They also said that they will change kind of how XP is distributed, like how you gain it. So dailies and weeklies will have more significance, since pretty much the only ones that mattered before were your seasonals. Outside of that, you'll be able to pick missions that you want to do for your dailies. Well, you won't really be able to pick them. You'll basically be able to have a list. And if there's one or two in the list that you don't like, you'll be able to just nope it away. So it gets changed with something else. This is so that you don't just have some quests that you just can't fulfill because you don't have the character or weapon built. Or it's just one you just really don't like playing. Like if you don't like, I don't know, Valby or Serena, and it's one of those two characters, you don't have to play those characters. You could swap it out and get potentially Blair, Haley, or Viessa. Any of those. They didn't really talk too much else about it. They call it 2.0, but like I said, it feels like a 1.5. It is definitely an improvement. And you will be able to get everything else you could get before, so there will be a gun. Same level of cosmetics as before. It's just this time you'll be a skin and it'll be easier to get through the battle pass. Something a lot of people are interested in is the cosmetics of the season. I can't even begin to cover all the cosmetics in this, but here's some information about it. The creator event for entering in your own, art and idea for a skin is going to end in August, I believe, and in September we'll be able to vote for it. Now, they did show us some of these on screen, and I need that fellow wizard hat to be in the game. I need that. Now, I don't know what I have to do, but I'll do it. I need that skin in the game. Outside of that, we also got a fellow skin where you have a Madagascar looking penguin on his back. Also need that. That's an instant buy for me. But outside of that, I'm just going to kind of rapid throw the different cosmetics they previewed on screen, because they showed like 30 to 40 different skins. I'm not even joking. They showed a lot of different skins, including bunny skins, random cosmetics that we'll get eventually, concept arts, summer skin that's somehow different from the swimsuit skins that we're getting. So much. So just take a look there. And yeah, that'll pretty much cover all cosmetics. So they showed a whole bunch of the World Crasher fight. Well, not maybe a whole bunch, but they showed some of it. This is the first time I've actually seen World Crasher doing anything besides, just standing. We gotta see his intro animation. We gotta see a lot of the fight. Like you can see it's on screen right now. All those lasers going around, all those particles. People were joking around saying, yeah, their PC's cooked after this. It's the first 8-man raid. They also said Ajax will actually have use because he can block everything with his bubble, like all the lasers and particles and everything. They're trying to make it so Ajax is really useful during this fight, but we'll see. There's still that possibility that everyone will load in with 8 Serenas and just wipe out the boss in 2 seconds. But there's supposed to be a huge rebalance with this, so who knows? We'll see. I am hoping tanks have a use for this fight. It would be cool to see Kyle and Ajax actually fulfill their original roles being tank characters. Maybe see Eugen be able to heal during the fight. Although it'll be kind of hard to do team comps, as most of this will just be like you in random groups. We'll see how it goes. They haven't fully explained how you can get parties going in this. Like if you maybe form an 8-man party. It'd be kind of weird since there's only one 8-man content thing. But we'll see. They also talked about some other stuff for this fight. If you want to see the intro for the Colossi fight, you have to get to the arena before he spawns, and you can see like this cool animation where everything just kind of explodes, as you can see on the screen. I don't think this is the final version of it yet. But if you do miss it, that's fine. You can just join the fight in the middle of the fight. You don't actually have to be there at the beginning. There's also no health scaling on the fight. So whether you're the only person fighting it or if you're with an 8-man squad, the health does not change. So it's consistent health. I don't know how this is going to change anything, like how viable it is to be able to fight it with like 4 people versus 8. We'll see. I do think this fight looks freaking amazing. All that shit going on. Biggest question is, will I be able to survive in the fight? There's so many questions still with this. We'll actually have to sink our teeth into it once, it comes out. We don't know too much else about it. They didn't go in depth about anything else, other than that they view Ajax as being necessary. Or not necessary, but useful. The Abyssal fights are kind of weird in their announcement. They showed 3 on the roadmap, but they only really talked about 1. I guess we'll get more information about the other ones. Like, we know that this one is Hanged Man. We know the next one is Molten Fortress, and then I believe the one after that will be Deathstalker, if I'm not mistaken. We know like what all 3 of those will be. They did talk a little bit about Hanged Man's variant. They're going to change the mechanics, so the orb mechanic or the cube mechanic, whatever the item was, is now gone. Which is kind of a shame. I did actually enjoy that fight, but that may be because I did that fight with friends. I'm actually doing that one with randoms is just a nightmare. But yeah, that's gone. It's replaced with a different mechanic now. And they'll also add an extra mechanic in challenge mode version of it. They show the skins there. And that's pretty much it. We'll learn more about it when Season 3 comes out. Forever the hot topic in the community, balance. So now balance will be done on a monthly basis to get any Descendant who is not balanced into a balanced state. They didn't really say if they're going to nerf Descendants with this. They pretty much only said they're going to try and bring Descendants to a level that's balanced. They did mention Jaber will be the first on the list in August. So he will not be in the update coming this month of July. It sounds like he will be the first one in August, though. So Jaber is not forgotten yet. Keyword yet. We'll see after this first round of buffs if he gets forgotten after that. But Jaber remains, rejoice. You will get some buffs. Yeah, they said this will be part of every monthly update. They'll look at the balance and then redo the balance. It sounds like they might nerf some characters. Not really? No? Maybe? I don't know. They didn't really talk about it. Like, once again, they didn't... I have a feeling they're afraid to mention the word nerf because of all the backlash from the Inez nerfs. They basically just said they'll bring Descendants into a balanced state. It sounds like they'll mainly buff characters. But they'll have to nerf characters. Like, there's no way they can avoid nerfing a character. Like, if you want a balanced state of your game, you will eventually have to nerf one character eventually. Just because they're so broken. Because some characters just are so broken, they cannot be... Other characters cannot be brought into a balanced state with them without just, like, cranking their numbers up to 1 million. Or some characters' kits are just inherently more broken. I don't know how this is going to go. We'll see. Monthly balance sounds a little weird, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. So the new module type will be trigger modules. We've talked about this before in the last video, but they went a little bit more in depth into this. So you guys can see on the screen, trigger modules actually get their new slot on the module page. So a completely new module slot, completely separate from everything else. To unlock this, you will have to hit level 40 with a Descendant and get level 40 in your arcade tree. Those will be the 2 requirements. So not too hard if you've already, have an in-game character. You'll be able to use them right away. It sounds like the modules themselves, the trigger modules, will have a random range. So you could get two of the same type and one could just be better than the other because it has better stats. They also mentioned trading. So if you are, having bad luck with a certain module, you can just trade with other players. We'll go into that in a little bit. But it sounds like they'll be fairly strong and pretty much a necessary thing for endgame. They didn't go too in depth about like what each one does, so that sounds like it'll be saved for when season 3 actually launches. And yeah, that's about it. Since day one, this has been asked about because of a system in Warframe where you could trade to earn premium currency. Well, now we're gonna have trading in this game, and it sounds like you'll be able to trade for premium currency, which is caliber in this game. Currently, though, the first phase of this will only be for modules, since we're going to have trigger modules, as we talked about before, and those will have ranges on them, so you'll definitely want to try and get the best one. I mean, you might be wanting to trade for it if you don't want to farm it out. And it sounds like, from what they said during the Q&A section, that you will be able to trade caliber for those modules. So that will be a way that you can earn caliber in-game without, spending real money. They also said for trading, this is the first stage of trading. So it sounds like maybe in the future we might get like an improved version of this where, who knows, maybe weapons or characters. They really didn't talk about this at all. They just kind of lightly trimmed over this whole thing of trading. They just lightly skimmed over it. But it does sound like we'll get expansions to this feature in the future. A more in-depth roadmap was revealed. I'll go ahead and throw this up on the screen so you guys can see. This is from August through December. We don't know what's happening after December, if that's a new season or new episode. They haven't revealed that yet, but they said they are committed to new monthly content, and this is the roadmap they have currently planned out, like I said. So there was a Q&A portion of this, but I kind of already covered most of the relevant information of the Q&A in the rest of this video. I was actually in the First Descendant Fest stream. You guys can see me over in the corner there. For whatever reason, and this is just one of the many technical issues that was like with having this many people on it, it showed my camera really darkened on there, which is weird because on the app they were using, like the program, it showed me having perfectly fine, like well lit room, and I'll put a photo right there. That's literally me on OBS using the exact same camera within like 10 minutes of this video ending, like this live stream ending, and it showed it perfectly fine. Like that's how it looked on their program. And like I'm also kind of irritated by this Q&A. I know like this is a news video, but God, I was irritated by the end of this because I didn't get to ask a question. Only like there was 58 people in this, and only about 18 of those people got to ask questions. It was not a super well organized thing. Like, I love that I was a part of it. It was really cool to be a part of it. You guys can see me there. I was really happy to be part of it, but it was not very well organized. I could go in depth into it, but I'm not going to go on a huge rant. That's not what this video is. I could come out with another video going on a rant of why I think it was horribly organized for having it done like this. I will get the acrylic stand though, so I'll show you guys that later in a different video. Yeah, that's pretty much it about the Q&A. Like I said, pretty much all the relevant information of the Q&A I talked about in this video. I honestly probably shouldn't even put this section in this video. I just kind of wanted to rant and then, show you guys that was in the video. And that wraps it up for the recap video of the First Descendant Fest Dev stream video. Wow, that's a huge mouthful. Let me know down below the video what you guys are most excited for that was announced. There was a lot of cool information. I'm very excited for Season 3. I think I'm most actually excited for the 3 new dungeons at the end of the year. But yeah, let me know, like I said, down below the video. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I also stream every day on Twitch at 2 p.m. PST. I'll go ahead and put the link down below the video. And I'll catch you all later, and thanks for watching this video.